Hey, it's Kaufman is Alive. I look at comic books new and old. Today I'm looking at a new comic book, the newest issue of Spawn, number 367 by Image Comics. This was a $3.99 book, and I've been collecting Spawn comics for a long time. I bought issue number 1 off the rack when it came out, bought some of those early ones, fell off over the years, have dipped in and out of Spawn over the years. I've pretty much been collecting everything since the Spawn universe sort of soft reboot that they had a couple years ago, and I've been collecting every issue of Spawn since then and leading up to it as well. And also I've been collecting the Gunslinger Spawn series and Scorched, King Spawn. So I've been pretty all in on Spawn for a while now, but I gotta be honest with you, there is something that is starting to seem very assembly line about everything surrounding the Spawn line. And maybe it's kind of always been that way when you kind of look back to some of those really early Spawn comics. A lot of the covers you would get would just be a really cool image of Spawn. There's no doubt about that, but it's not really telling you anything about the issue or the story. They're just kind of random pictures of Spawn. And that's what you get on all these most recent issues as well, which is kind of why I have all of them out here as well, issues 366 and 365. And these are all part of the same story arc here, the Hell Hath Arisen story arc. And Brett Booth's been doing all the interior artwork in here. So even though if you're going to be looking at the cover and you're going to be wondering to yourself, well, am I going to get Spawn battling a giant octopus with weird eyes everywhere, or whatever this is, usually it's stuff that's not actually happening within the book. So, like I was saying, there's something very assembly line about everything that's going on at Spawn. It seems like they just get really good artists to draw cool pictures of Spawn, and that's what they put on the cover, regardless of what the story is. But when you do open up the comic, specifically this issue, you are going to get a pretty cool looking story, and Brett Booth does some awesome artwork in here as well. The cover was by Federico Sabatini, and we got Adelso Corona doing inks, Daniel Henriquez also on inks, and Robert Nugent doing colors on here. And of course, the Todd father himself, Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn, is on the scripts and the plot here. And this whole issue just feels like a Dragon Ball Z episode. And that's a good thing. I really appreciate that. It's pretty much all action for the most part. And, you know, you're never really dealing with any major themes in a Spawn comic other than mainly just, you know, heaven versus hell, good versus evil, and basically Spawn trying to find his ex-wife Wanda. That's pretty much an overarching plot for any Spawn comic. And in this one, we've got Nyx, who's the Queen of Hell. She's trying to invade Earth, take over Earth and Heaven, and control the universe. Pretty simple plot here. And in the past few issues, we've seen this giant monster who's been trying to take over the Earth here, and all the heroes have come to try and stop him. And we've had Brett Booth on every single issue. It's been the same creative team, so it's been some pretty consistent storytelling here. But at the end of the last issue, they were able to, they thought they at least destroyed the monster, but it actually just miniaturized him. But as we find out, it's actually made him more powerful. So very much like Frieza from Dragon Ball Z, or Cooler or something like that. So he kind of looks like Cooler in a sense. He's got these big giant horns though. So he's trying to bargain with Spawn. He wants Spawn to give him the Necro Touch, which sounds kind of freaky, but that's what he wants Spawn to give him so that he can have all the Hellspawn powers. But Spawn hesitates and won't do it. So this monster just starts breaking the limbs of the closest and weakest hero, who is Gunslinger's former sidekick Taylor here. And then Focus, the speedster, tries to interfere, and he starts to get slaughtered, along with Haunt as well. And there's some really cool drawings here and just some awesome looking action scenes going on throughout all of this. I love the really small drawings. And when Brett Booth goes big, it looks really awesome as well. So finally, he says, you should have taken my trade, now I'll just force it from you. And that's what Spawn wants, ultimately, is a fight. We get a really cool page here of we've got the news anchors, of course, so it's kind of a different version of what you usually get in a Spawn comic, where there's one page of the news anchors. But he's doing it a different way here, which looks really cool, where they're just on top, giving you the perspective of what's going on here from 3 different news sources. And you got a liberal kind of entertainment media, and then right-wing media, and then a panel of the Scorched team, all the heroes, and then a panel of all the villains. But they're actually trying to also help the heroes. They're all in league together against this invasion from hell here. But some pretty awesome villains here that we have actually not seen in the past few issues. So it's cool to see their little cameo appearance in this one panel here. We see the government, they still can't penetrate whatever barrier that this demon has created. And they're just saying they hope that the heroes inside have survived. And we see that they're really not faring too well at all. So then the monster says he will find another hellspawn that will help our cause, help us rule, now die. And he holds up his arm. And then it goes flying because Poacher shows up here and cuts his arm off with his giant axe. And then there's some really kind of interesting storytelling here that I really appreciated, where we find out that the elephant mutant creature here, Poacher, he's got these kinetic shock waves, it says, and they're meant to paralyze their target. It's something his breed slowly developed over thousands of years, an adaptive evolution to help them ward off both heaven's and hell's influence. And then we find out that all animals, a part of the wild animal kingdom, are not affected by heaven or hell. It says, for centuries, he's fought against their encroachments, watched them poison this planet by their very existence, like they somehow control everything, including the animals, but they don't. Neither God nor Satan have been able to permanently recruit any animal, lions, tigers, elephants, and all the rest of the animal kingdom. Nature meant for them to be wild, and for them to stay that way. So Poacher's kind of got the edge on this necro creature because he's not influenced by heaven or hell, and he's able to slice him with his giant axe right through the middle there. I love the intestines like falling out. Some just awesome pages by Brett Booth, one of my favorite current comic book artists. And then we find out this creates a beacon, actually letting God know that they're trying to assassinate him and they're coming for his throne. And also it obviously alerts Nyx, the Queen of Hell, to what's going on. We get a great splash page of Spawn here, which could have been a cover. He says, I should have taken Hell's throne, become its king, not you, because he put Nyx on the throne originally. And it says that could be his greatest mistake that he's made, thinking she had some humanity when she's just gone mad with power and is trying to take over the universe. And then, in just kind of an interesting bit of storytelling, I feel like they just started drawing really cool stuff, and then McFarlane came in and tried to justify some of it. So he says, it's been a while, but since the recent return of his powers, Spawn has felt an inkling of heaven's influence trying to resurface. So he allows it to manifest itself, to become the weapon he'd been given by God when he had been trapped in limbo. The blade known as the Sword of the Spirit. And it says back in Spawn number 250, 251. And then he just slices up this demon with ease. And you can see the obvious anime influence still here. So there's a giant explosion. It says Earth has been spared, but what of its heroes? And then we see the Scorch standing by with She-Spawn wondering if Al's okay. And I gotta... this reminds me of a few issues back. She-Spawn actually kissed Al, and it seemed like they might have some sort of relationship, and that hasn't even been explored at all recently. I would like to see that come back as a storyline plot, maybe after all of this, since it seems like maybe this Hell Hath Arisen storyline This might be the final chapter, part 5. There'll probably be an epilogue, part 6. Find out what happens to Spawn here. I've got to imagine he's not dead, and he'll be back the next issue. He always comes back. We get some fan art here. Here's a sculpture that looks pretty cool. And that's pretty much how I feel about this issue. It was an awesome issue, obviously. I just rambled on about it for like 10 or 15 minutes. But my point still stands about the kind of overall aesthetic of the Spawn line. It does feel very assembly line, but I really would like them to get back to showing covers that actually show us what's happening within the pages of the book instead of just maybe some cool image of Spawn, even though the artwork is always going to be pretty much some top-notch stuff in any issue of Spawn you're going to buy. Stories are going to be hit and miss. This was a really fun issue though. It's been on a great run so far for the past couple years, I feel like, with Spawn. Again, you're not getting any real high themes or super intellectual, thought-provoking stuff going on here, but it's just really fun action battles between heaven and hell. So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe if you've made it this far. Like the video. You might as well while you're here, right? Doesn't cost anything to subscribe. Go check out my other channel, Kaufman is Alive Wrestling, that I just started, where I talk about pro wrestling. If you like wrestling as much as I do, wrestling and comics, 2 of my favorite hobbies. So please leave a comment as well. Let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Go read comics.